Hi, it's Sarah from Sarah's Thinking Again blog, and today several of you asked me about my self-care kits and what I mean by self-care. So I just thought I'd do you a little video, and some of the aspects I'll do in a bit more depth at a later time, but right now I'm just going to show you a bit of a blanket of what my self-care involves. So the first thing to say is that lots of people feel that self-care is very different. It's about what makes you feel better, or makes you feel content even in that moment. And so it's the complete opposite of what we've discussed before, which is self-harm, being anything that can harm you and not the typical things. Self-care is exactly the same but the opposite. So it doesn't have to be anything that you've heard of. It doesn't necessarily have to be any of these things or things that you associate with self-care, but it's just about things that make you feel better. So for some people it's having a nap, for some people it's colouring. There's a million and one things, but if it's something that makes you feel a little bit better and spends a little bit of your time doing, then that's really important to do. So for me, the first thing is deciding what kind of frame of mind I'm in. So my self-care, there's a million things that I do, but so many of them are very, very different depending on how I'm feeling at that time. One of the things I love to do when I am feeling down or I'm anxious is to read. I love reading. And I never really used to make time for it, but lately I've made a lot more time for that. So I'm sure most of you who follow my blog or have seen any of my videos or on Twitter will know that Mark Billingham is my favourite author. Absolutely love crime thrillers anyway, and true life crime, crime fiction, any kind of whodunit really. But for me, Thorn, throughout Mark Billingham's books, always come top. I just love following through the story of Thorn and what he does, but also for me I can just really zone out, completely forget everything else that's going on in my life at that time and zone into something that's just so far from my reality. And the writing is so good. It's funny. I love the fact that there's so much humour in there, and really dry humour. But there's also times it makes me cry, times it makes me laugh, and it's just a really good way for me to zone out. Other times when I'm feeling maybe more motivated or wanting to tackle full on, head first into what I'm going through, I'm reading a book at the moment called Stronger Than BDP, and this is by Debbie Corso, and I'm halfway through that now. And it's a girl's guide to working your way through those conditions. So a lot of it's based on DBT, which I'm still on the waiting list for. But again, it talks about that self-soothing. So for me, it's just a bit of a sort of motivating book. So when I'm feeling sort of in a good place that I want to like tackle some of the issues that I'm going through, it's a really good one. And also, I've talked a little bit about the fact that I've been reading The Secret. I'm up and down with this book. Some days I just think it's the best thing that's ever been written, and other days I can't quite get my head around it. And I'm looking forward to finishing it and giving a full review. But the one thing I would say about it is, for me, it gives me the understanding how important positive thinking is. So it's not that I'm in complete belief that if you think something enough, it will come true. But I do definitely believe that thinking about certain things more often and more positively will have an impact on how you feel, and that holding on to things, or I spend a lot of time worrying about the what if, and I never really think, what if everything's okay? What if everything's fine? So for me, it's about positive thinking, and that's what I take away from it. So on other days, reading is too much for me. I need to switch off entirely, and that is days when I get my favourite blanket and I couple up on the settee, and sometimes that might be napping, but other times it's a case of maybe watching one of my favourite childhood DVDs, Peter Pan. Used to love that, still do. Or it might be needing to make myself laugh. I know people say laughter is the best medicine, and I kind of agree with that. I know that it doesn't cure everything, but for me, I like watching lots of comedians, But lean Mac I just find so funny, so quick. So if I've genuinely got nothing else on and there's no box sets, nothing I can watch, I'll download off the box sets or an old version of Would I Lie to You, and I am genuinely in belly laughs. I just think they are so quick on there, and it's hard to watch that and then feel depressed and down and low. And I'm not saying that once it's finished my problems are over, because they're not, as we all know, but it just gives me that bit of respite during that time. So also, before I started blogging and doing videos and raising awareness, I've always been a massive fan of journaling, because I think that speaking about or talking about or writing about what you're going through when you're feeling low is really good, but it's also really good when you're feeling better, because you can look back on what maybe changed or what you did that day that helped to make you feel better. So you can do anything from just like your normal journal or a notebook to these certain specific mood journals that will help you track how you're going with different aspects of your life, and you can track certain aspects. And I find that really useful. Like I said, I'm quite a digital person. I work for a digital inclusion charity along with social inclusion, so I do go digital whenever I can. And I was recently given a subscription, so thank you My Possible Self. I have written a blog for those before, but a subscription to My Possible Self, and I am going to do a full video on this soon, but I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm trying to show you. So this is I'm just using it on the tablet at the moment, but My Possible Self is an app that you can get. It's $5.99 a month or $59.99 for the year, but it's just a fantastic tool to track everything on your phone or your tablet. So I'm going to do a full blog or video on this at some point, but it's got, you can track and you can write how you're feeling, you can take photos, you can do all that. There's blogs on there. One of my blogs is on there, which you can see. But I think for me, the most important bit are the modules. So recently I did solving problems, which I found absolutely fantastic. My favourite so far is tackling unhelpful thinking, because that is my worst symptom, my worst thing that I find all the time. It's how I think about myself, how I think about situations. And for me, it's been fantastic to work through that. But like I said, I'm going to do a full video on that because I think it's really worthwhile, and I love the modules in that. Again, there's so many things you can do for self-care. It might be as simple as a candle and a bit of a face mask and painting your nails. Whatever makes you feel that little bit happier. I know sometimes I go out of my way to do things with the kids because they absolutely love it. And I used to take them along to like the kids' pottery classes and let them do things. And I've started that when I go, I now have a go myself. So you'll see, this is from a while ago now, but tea is my little comforter. So now, whenever I'm feeling really low, I'll make myself my little pot of tea in here, and that's another way of just something a bit different and special. But again, things like the blackhead face mask. I've also got a really nice liquid gold by Alpha, and that's a fantastic product. And it really helps to moisturise your skin. It strips it back. You just get this really nice glowing feeling. So for me, things like that are dead important. Just 20 minutes to make yourself feel a bit better. It's great. So one of the things I'm sure lots of you will have seen are the colouring books. And these are fab. You can get them in all kinds. I've got all sorts of different ones that I use, and they're generally relaxing therapy for mindfulness. So you go through, and they're quite small in detail, and they're great for colouring. I don't buy any special pens. I remember looking for mindfulness pens, and these were £1. And they're just kids' crayons, and that's what I use. And obviously that's really helpful because then it means that I have kids and they tend to sharpen them for me. So that's great. But what I was sent this week, and thank you to the tracing company, is something new called Bloom, and it's the tracing company, a company in America that have tried something different, and I really like it. It's a tracing book. So instead of the normal colouring things, you go through with your piece of paper and then you trace through the patterns, and it just takes that bit more time than your average colouring in. It takes that bit more concentration, so you're thinking about your cognitive skills and zoning out that bit more again, like I said. And this is called Bloom. They do lots of editions, and as far as I'm aware, they're also working on a child's one, which I'm looking forward to getting the kids to try out. But for me, it just takes that bit more time. So again, I'll do a review of books and colouring books as well. And finally, just one of the things that actually my children made for me, they both made one. It'll just show you the both differences. Self-care is so important, but it's also dead important to sort of make yourself feel better. And I'm talking about not sort of talking to yourself in the mirror. Now, some people do that and it's great. They can meditate, they can stand in front of the mirror shouting, I am a positive, strong woman. And unfortunately, that's not for me. But what you can do, or what I found that's dead useful, and my kids actually made it for me from something called Big Life Journal. They'd found it called a gratitude jar, and then for Mother's Day they both made me one. So both really different in look. One's just a paper cup that my daughter just made out of sellotape and stuck it all together. And inside it says to pick out 3 each day. So this one says to try your best. Let's see what else we've got in here. This one just says wow. I'm hoping that means that I'm wow. And there's another one that says try hard. And these are the little actions that my youngest daughter made for me to pick out each day and have a look and think about how to take positive actions. Now, my other daughter stole a jar from the cupboard, but made me the beautiful pot that creates sort of little nice things that she says about me. So for this one, this says, you mean the world to me. Let's see what else we've got in there. You are the best mum ever, which I'm the only mum she's got, so thank goodness I'm the best. And I am always determined to make you proud. I have to get that one out for her to remind her, because sometimes she might behave in a way that might not make me proud. So I just go, do you remember when you said? But if they hadn't have made me those already, I've been making myself one. And you'll have seen it before where people make jars of memories. So you can put down things such as, you know, yesterday I got on the bus and was fine. Yesterday I got up and showered and took the dog out for a walk. I can do this. I am enough. There's enough things in life, and I'm going to do a whole video on, again, what the kids have put in here, but also other positive affirmations of things that you can just really push yourself with. The Secret does a great book on the daily teachings, which has really been helping me to work through just positive thinking each day, like I said. And I'm going to do a video on that. But again, it's just that way of positively affirming yourself without having to stand in front of the mirror and say, I am strong, I am independent, I can do this. Because that's really important to do, but we don't always feel right doing that. And for some people it works. It's not something I would feel comfortable doing. Whereas these little notes in a jar, I feel really comfortable writing them for myself, but also reading them each day and thinking, do you know what? You can do this. And by no means is this a cure to depression, anxiety, or particularly my borderline personality disorder. But these are just a few of the things I use in self-care and how I use self-soothing and starting to make myself feel a little bit better on those bad days. So if any of these have given you any ideas, or you've got any others you'd like to share, I'd love you to jot them down, give us a like, give us a share, even subscribe to our more videos. and jot in the comments what you've tried because of this, or what else you've tried, because you guys are experts. You might be able to think of something that I've not thought of, and everything is different for everyone else. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I look forward to doing another video soon. Okay, bye bye.